President Trump now doubling his punch on steel and aluminum tariffs.
We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America.
Talking about this, GE confirming just now it is cutting 12,000 jobs as it shrinks its power.
You're already seeing it, aren't you? It's already starting to impact your business.
Very much so.
America woke up to a nightmare no one expected. General Electric, once the crown jewel of American innovation, the powerhouse that lit our homes, built our engines, and symbolized American industrial strength, has slammed its doors shut. Factories silent. Lights off. Workers sent home with nothing but pink slips and broken dreams. And the reason? Donald Trump's tariff war. This isn't just business, this isn't just politics, this is millions of American lives shattered in real time. And tonight, we dive deep into what happened, why it happened, and why the fallout might reshape America forever. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Traveling Vibes, because we bring you the truth no one else is willing to tell. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll be pinning the most powerful one at the top. Imagine it. Decades of loyalty, generations of workers who built their families' futures on GE paychecks. Fathers teaching sons the trade, mothers carrying entire communities on their factory wages. And suddenly, because of a political gamble, because of a trade war nobody asked for, all of it crumbles. Workers file out with boxes in hand, tears in their eyes, not knowing how to pay rent, buy food, or keep health insurance. This is not just a statistic, this is America breaking apart at the seams. And the first question that every American is asking: how could tariffs, meant to protect American jobs, end up destroying them instead? The answer lies in the ripple effect. Trump's tariffs were designed as punishment, aimed at China, India, Canada, and Europe. But when you punish the world fights back. Steel and aluminum prices soared, imports became costlier, supply chains collapsed. General Electric, a company already struggling with global competition, suddenly faced unbearable costs. Parts they once imported cheaply now came at triple the price. Customers they once relied on overseas turned away in retaliation. Orders dried up. And instead of protecting American workers, tariffs strangled the very industries they were meant to save. Let's put this into perspective. General Electric was not just another company. It powered the American dream. It supplied engines for airplanes, turbines for power plants, and technology for hospitals. Every American has, in one way or another, touched GE's legacy. But tariffs created a death spiral. When the cost of materials went up, GE raised prices. Buyers, both in the US and abroad, said no thanks. When demand shrank, layoffs followed. And when layoffs spread, communities collapsed. The tariffs were a political bombshell, but the shrapnel hit ordinary Americans first. And Trump? His reaction was explosive, furious. Instead of admitting miscalculation, he doubled down, blasting China, blasting Europe, blasting anyone but himself. He stood before cameras claiming America was winning, even as workers stood in unemployment lines. His anger wasn't about jobs lost, it was about his image, his legacy, and the narrative that he could never be wrong. But Americans on the ground weren't fooled. The protests outside GE's factories told the real story. Families chanting, "We built this company and you destroyed it." Their anger wasn't directed at some distant foreign power. It was aimed squarely at Washington, at policies that prioritized pride over practicality. Now let's widen the lens. What happens when GE shuts its doors? Global competitors swoop in. China ramps up exports of turbines and medical tech. India positions itself as the new hub of engineering and innovation. Canada, once America's closest ally, offers incentives to lure displaced GE workers across the border. The world doesn't wait for America to recover. It fills the void instantly. And the terrifying truth is this: once you lose industrial ground, you almost never get it back. America's rivals know this, and they are already feasting on the opportunities handed to them. The geopolitical impact is staggering. Allies in Europe who once depended on US machinery are now questioning their reliance. Why risk unstable supply chains when alternatives exist in Asia? Security experts are warning that dependence on foreign machinery could one day leave America vulnerable, not just economically, but militarily. A jet engine made in Beijing instead of Boston. A power grid reliant on foreign turbines instead of American-made. when industry collapses, national security is never far behind. And here's the cruel irony. Tariffs were supposed to defend America from foreign dependency. Instead, they accelerated it. By closing the doors of GE, America just handed China, India, and Canada the keys to the future. This is not only economic suicide, it is strategic surrender. But let's bring it back home. What does this mean for everyday Americans? In towns where GE once thrived, main streets are now ghost towns. The diner that served GE workers breakfast every morning? Closed. The local schools funded by factory taxes? Budget cuts and layoffs. The ripple effect of a factory shutdown is devastating. And while Washington plays blame games, families are left asking, where do we go from here? India's counter strategy is clear: capitalize. By aggressively expanding its tech and manufacturing base, India is saying to the world, we can do what America once did. Canada, meanwhile, positions itself as the safe, stable partner. It quietly absorbs U.S. market share, securing contracts, luring skilled labor, and reinforcing its image as the reliable neighbor America no longer is. This is not just a trade war, it's a global realignment. And Americans are left with moral and ethical questions that cut deep. Who pays the price for political ego? Is it fair for workers, loyal, hard-working Americans, to lose their livelihoods over a trade war they never chose? Is it acceptable for leaders to gamble with entire industries in pursuit of headlines? At what point do we say enough? At what point do we demand policies rooted in reality, not bravado? The story of GE's collapse is not just about tariffs. It's about the soul of America's economy. It's about the fragility of a system that can be toppled by a single policy misstep. It's about the danger of leaders who refuse to listen, who mistake stubbornness for strength. And it's about the urgent need for Americans to ask, what kind of future do we want? One built on short-term pride, or one that secures long-term stability? But if GE's collapse is a warning, then we have to ask ourselves, who's next? Already, whispers are coming from other corners of American industry: steel producers, auto manufacturers, even tech suppliers. Companies saying the same thing in hushed tones. If tariffs don't end soon, we won't survive either. It's not just a GE problem, it's an American problem. And it speaks to something far larger than one company shutting its doors. This is about the fragile link between policy and reality, between bold promises and the hard truth of economics. Think about what this means for American workers. If GE's layoffs number in the tens of thousands, multiply that across other industries and the figure becomes staggering. Millions could be displaced, entire communities stripped of their purpose. And here's the heartbreaking part. Workers are not just losing jobs, they're losing dignity. A paycheck is more than money. It's pride, it's security, it's the ability to look your kids in the eye and say, you'll be okay. When that vanishes, something deeper breaks inside the American spirit. Now let's zoom out again to the global stage. When China, India, and Canada look at America's missteps, they don't just see opportunity, they see validation. Validation that their strategy of patience, of long-term planning, is paying off. China invests in infrastructure while America argues over tariffs. India builds global partnerships while America tears them apart. Canada strengthens its stability while America embraces chaos. And slowly, step by step, the world begins to pivot away from Washington's influence. That pivot has consequences not just for trade, but for power, alliances, and even peace. If America can't supply its own allies with engines, turbines, and critical technology, those allies will turn elsewhere. And once they build those new relationships, they won't come back. That's the irreversible danger. When trust is broken in the global marketplace, it doesn't heal overnight. And make no mistake, global trust in American reliability is breaking right now. But here's where the ethical questions get even sharper. Who should be held accountable? The politicians who pushed tariffs without listening to experts? The corporations who failed to adapt and diversify? Or is it a shared failure, a culture of short-term thinking that prizes headlines over hard work, applause over planning? Americans deserve leaders who think about the next generation, not just the next election. And GE's collapse is a brutal reminder of what happens when we forget that truth.